So how do you become an expert in your market? How do you become the go-to expert in your market no matter what you're doing? If you're a real estate agent, real estate investor, multifamily, commercial, house flipper, whatever it is, how do you become the go-to expert? So first and foremost, especially right now, this is May 4th or 5th of 2020. I'm losing track of the days. We are still in the coronavirus lockdown in Virginia. We haven't been set free yet. We are on shelter in place till June 10th unless that changes. So right now, more than ever, you really need to pay attention to the area that you're in if you're looking to invest in an area and buy property in an area, or if you're representing properties to sell for owners that are selling to investors. If you're in the retail market, it's a little bit different. You know, it's still hyper local. You still want to understand the demand metrics, inventory levels, days on market, list price to sale price, all that kind of stuff if you're residential real estate, so that you can inform your market and your clientele. But if you're an investor developer, the first thing you got to do is you got to drill it down to the neighborhood, block, and street. You need to understand the tenancy, understand who lives in those areas, who are the employers, how has the pandemic, coronavirus impacted the employers and the employees and people in those jobs in the areas. If you are borrowing money right now to buy a property on a commercial multifamily level, they're going to drill down pretty deep into the financials of that property. They're going to want the T12, they're going to want the T3, and they're going to want the T1. So they're going to look at the last month's expense initially, and then as you go through the pipeline, before they give you a commitment and a clear to close, they're going to want an updated T, 1 week, 10 days, 15 days, whatever it is. They're going to want from the first of the month that you're in to date before you close, to just verify once again the income, the occupancy, the tenancy, vacancy, things like that. So you're going to want to make sure that you pay close attention to that, drill down into the tenancy, drill down into the occupancy, drill down into the current rent rolls and who's paying, who's not, who lives there, how are they affected by everything, what does their job look like, what does the income outcome look like. You can find a lot of information about the neighborhood and the area and the city through economic development, through chambers of commerce, through other brokers, other loan officers, management companies, professionals in the marketplace. That's where you can learn a lot about the area. You can learn a lot about looking at reviews of the area on different city, review websites and things like that. And apartment communities, commercial shopping centers. You can look at reviews about the center of the area, the property, and get some ideas of what the area looks like. There's neighborhood blogs a lot of time, neighborhood Facebook groups. There's Next Door Neighbor for a lot of communities where you can kind of look at what's going on in the area, to really drill down in those demographics. And then lastly, if you have a podcast, one of the great ways to get to know the area and become an expert in your area is to start interviewing people in the industry that you're looking at in the area. So if you're a realtor, interview mortgage brokers, interview banks, interview attorneys, interview accountants, interview business owners, interview property managers that manage subdivisions, interview the chairman of the board of those property owners associations and those subdivisions, and the executive directors of the Realtors Association, Home Builders Association, all that kind of stuff. Interview home builders. So anybody and everybody who's related to the housing market in your area. If you have a podcast, and if you don't have one, you should get one. You want to interview those people. That's for real estate agents, so that positions you as the expert. You network, you meet people. Whoever your ideal client is, you want to interview who influences them and your ideal client. Interview some buyers, interview some sellers, talk to them about what they're seeing, what they're looking for in an agent, that kind of thing, why they chose you. So you want to use the power of a podcast, and you want to do video podcasts. So video first, goes to YouTube, goes to Facebook, all that, and then you can use it on an actual podcast. Same thing if you're an apartment syndicator or commercial real estate investor, make sure you got a podcast. Interview those people that I listed who can give you information about the area. Interview the mayor, the council members, anybody who's in and around the community in terms of economic development, in terms of the real estate industry, commercial real estate, business community, business leaders. That's how you get connected to influencers. That's how you get connected to your ideal client, to your audience. That's how you become an expert in the area. If you're trying to land, attorneys, interview people that serve attorneys, and interview the services and the resources around that industry, or mortgage bankers, or dentists or optometrists, whatever. If you're trying to get their clients as clients, interview them, talk about their business, their practice. If you're trying to get them, interview their clients and talk about the need and what they can do for the client. So there's a lot of ways to become an expert in the area that you're looking in beyond the traditional means of high-level data indicators. Those are easy to find. This is down into the nitty-gritty, the intimate level. When I say know your market intimately, this is what I'm talking about. You need to know area, block, street, building on the street, and you need to know the people in the community. That's when you know an area intimately. That's when you become the go-to expert, and that's how you do it.